When most people start working with the nervous system, they mainly focus on the mind, the thoughts and emotions. But it's actually much more effective to work on the level of the body with somatic practices. So in this video, I'm going to explain why that is. I'll share my top 5 somatic tools that I use all the time that helped me recover from chronic fatigue syndrome. And I'm going to give you some tips of how to weave these into your day so that you can remember to do them frequently enough to actually have a lasting impact on your health and on your well-being. I'm Cedar of Cedar Sacred Well. I'm a certified somatic practitioner and a nervous system coach, and it's my passion to help people with chronic illness and chronic pain to have more ease and freedom in their bodies with tools like this that helped me recover. Let's get into it. So, the first thing I want you to understand is that the nervous system is a two-directional communication. We have the vagus nerve that goes from the brain all the way down into the pelvis. It connects to the face. It connects to all of our major organ systems. So it's essentially like the control center or messenger system within the body. And fascinatingly, 80% of that communication between the body and the brain is going from the bottom up, from the body to the brain, and only 20% is going from the brain to the body. That blew me away when I first learned this. And it helps explain why these somatic tools are so effective and so powerful when we want to shift our nervous system and just become more regulated and resilient. The other reason that somatic tools are so effective is that they are using our body's own innate stress relief mechanisms in many cases. So animals, including humans, have ways to discharge stress because, we need to be able to do that to return to our safety state when something scary or dangerous happens. And we, as humans, I think we're the only animals that have trained ourselves to not do those things because it's weird or not socially acceptable. So we actually have to learn them again as adults, these kind of innate tools. Your body may do some of these things already naturally, and you just didn't know that that's what it was doing. But we can consciously and intentionally use these physiological stress relief cues and tools to actually bring a sense of safety to a nervous system that is acting as if we're under threat, even though we're not under threat. Okay, at the end, I'm going to share how to approach these tools, but first I just want to get into it and let's do some practices together. So this first practice I'm going to teach you is the physiological sigh. And I love this one because it's so fast, it's so easy, and it is so effective. You're just going to breathe in through the nose. At the top, you take a sniff, and then you breathe out. I like to breathe out through the mouth. You can breathe out through the mouth or the nose. The important thing is that it's a longer exhale. Let's do that a few more times. So just breathing in naturally. This is a normal breath through the nose. You don't have to make it super big. And then you sniff and then breathe out nice and slow and easy. Normal breath in, just like you naturally would. And then when you would normally exhale, you stop and sniff. And a nice slow breath out. I can already feel my shoulders dropping as I do this, and you may feel your body softening or tingling, or there may be other cues that come up as we do these practices, and I invite you to pay attention to that because that's actually really helpful to start to learn how does my body signal, or what do I feel inside when I'm actually releasing stress, because we want to know that. All right, the second tool is called havening. So this is another great one that I love to use. It's using kind of the nature of nerves in certain parts of our body to signal safety. And there are 3 kind of movements or types of touch as we do this. The first is on the face, so stroking down the face. And it's really important with any of these practices that it should feel comfortable and maybe even pleasurable. So if any of these things that I'm leading or guiding don't feel good to you, please don't do them. Your own intuitive wisdom is the most important thing. So stroking the face is the first one. The second one is stroking down the arms. So I'm just going from the shoulder to the elbow here. You can also stroke up and down. It's up to you. You can come across the chest if that feels good, but the main one is kind of from the shoulder to the elbow, stroking down the arms. This one is my favorite of the three. And then the third one is rubbing the palms together. And you want to do this nice and slow so you can really feel all the ridges and bumps of your fingerprint and the creases of your palms as you move your hands. And with each of these, really just noticing the sensations is important. You want to tune in and pay attention to the sensations you're feeling rather than having your mind on your to-do list or what happened last week, right? All right, so the third practice I'm going to teach you is basically just a grounding kind of gravity practice. And this one is using our awareness, our focus, to signal safety through body sensations. And so to do that, you'll just want to notice the surface that you're sitting or laying on. And wherever you're making contact with that surface. So for example, if you're sitting down, it's going to be the tops of the backs of your legs, your bum, your sits bones, maybe part of your back. If your chair has a back and you can lean back against it, that's really great to do. And you're just noticing, what does that sensation feel like? I like to close my eyes as I do this. Noticing what is the temperature here. Does it feel warm or cool? Does it feel hard or soft? Another place you can focus is the soles of your feet. So you can do this when you're standing or if you're sitting with your feet on the ground. Just noticing maybe how that surface is different from the surface that you're sitting on. And of course, if you're laying down, you can choose any part of your body that is in contact with the bed or the couch or whatever you're laying on. So we're just going to take a couple of breaths here, really noticing the sensations of the surface and the parts of your body that it's touching. So see if you can find the exact edges of those places of contact. And on your next exhale, I'd like you to imagine that you can sink into the surface, maybe just a few millimeters. Really allow this surface to hold your weight. So we're often kind of bracing or holding ourselves up against gravity. So see if you can release a little bit of that bracing and just let gravity help you relax down into the surface. Trusting it to hold you. Allowing yourself to relax and sink in, even if it's just 10% more relaxation, that's great. And I also always like to kind of remember or imagine the planet Earth is beneath whatever I'm sitting on, beneath the floor, and just noticing the vastness of that planet and the constancy of it. There's never anywhere I will be that the Earth isn't right here holding me up. I suppose unless you're an astronaut, but astronauts actually describe when they come back to Earth the sense of gravity feeling very comforting, almost like a hug. So that's the sensation we're tuning into here, is that awareness of this kind of gentle hug from Mother Earth. Let's just take another breath into that. And if you want to open your eyes again and follow along with me for this fourth practice, is a ear massage practice. And there's a lot of different techniques for this. I have my own kind of 3-part technique, but I'd like to start by just having you just feel your ears, just do a little massaging. Like you can rub or roll the outside of your ears with your fingers. Oh man, that made me yawn. Yawning is one of the signals that my body gives me when it's relaxing and releasing stress. So that's always a good sign for me, but for you, it may be stomach gurgles, it may be just a sense of softening or tingling. It could be a lot of different things. So whatever you're feeling is right. So try just pulling down on the earlobes a little bit, maybe pulling forward. And this should be really gentle and feel good. So we're not really trying to manipulate our ears in any particular way. We're just bringing a little movement and a little warmth and blood flow into this area. That is one of the places the vagus nerve passes, very close to the skin. Another thing I like to do is put my finger right here in this kind of upper crease of the ear and do some little circles. So you can see I'm actually moving my whole ear, but I'm not putting any pressure inwards towards my skull. Okay, I'm just tracking the skin, the cartilage of the ear over the bone. And these nice lazy circles. I'm not trying to do anything or accomplish anything. I'm just allowing the ear to move over the bone. Typically do about a minute, so I would count like 60 circles here. And then moving to behind the ear, you can just traction up or traction away. I like to actually spread my fingers out and again kind of do some big circles if you can. The background, my lovely forest background is interfering, but yeah, just kind of do some big circles in this space behind the ear is really relaxing and really supportive to the vagus nerve. So we're just going to spend a few more moments doing this. Oh, there was another yawn. And you can continue to do this ear massage in whatever way feels good to you if you like. You could even bring it down into the jaw or the face. That can be quite nourishing as well. And I just want to remind you that it's important to follow your own body wisdom, your own signals as you do this. All right. The next practice I have for you is a longer practice, so I won't be sharing it in this video, but I'm going to put a link down below in the comments of a body scan. So a body scan is one of my top favorite, well, it's in the top 5, top somatic practices, as it really just cultivates an ability to feel safe in the body. And when you have a chronic illness and you have chronic pain, that is hard to come by. I think I say this in the introduction to that practice, but if you If you have a lot of pain in the body or you have a lot of discomfort and it's hard for you to feel calm or feel safe when you go into the body, then maybe this isn't the best practice for you. Again, you're going to trust your own intuition and your own guidance on this. But it can be a great practice for chronic pain because it helps open awareness to all of the things happening in the body, not just the loudest and most difficult thing that you're experiencing. So it can often kind of turn down the volume on the pain when we have that wider awareness and a wider sense of the whole entire body. All right, I think that was 5. Yeah, that was my top 5. There are a lot of other practices that I love to teach, but those are some quick, easy ones that you can start using right away. I have one other practice for you that I'm going to share at the end that's not really a somatic practice, but is also great for the nervous system. But first, I wanted to share some tips and some ideas of how you can actually use these in your day-to-day life. So somatic practices like this take a little while to for your body to kind of understand them. And so firstly, it's always helpful to just pause after doing a somatic practice. So maybe let's do that now. We'll just take a pause. Just notice, how does my body feel now? Maybe compared to when you first started this video. Just give the nervous system a minute to kind of register and process what we just did. So taking some pauses, doing this slowly at a very relaxed pace is important. I went through them fairly fast because I wanted to get to all of them in this video. The other thing is it requires a lot of repetition. So you may have seen that I was yawning very quickly with some of these practices, but that wasn't the case when I first started. I didn't really have any signs the first few times that I did these that my body was releasing stress. So if you didn't notice anything, that's completely okay. That doesn't mean that it's not working or it's not going to help you. It means it doesn't quite trust it, doesn't quite know what's going on yet. So you need to practice a few times. Again, it might not be a yawn for you. It could be something totally different. But as you practice these, you'll start to notice which ones kind of give you that signal, that feeling of softening or feeling of safety, feeling of gravity for some people, lightness for others. And as you learn those cues, that shows you, okay, these are some practices that work for me that I want to keep doing to help regulate my nervous system. It's important to repeat them, as I said, and also to do them quite frequently. So what I usually tell my coaching clients is to pick 1 or 2 really fast ones, so like that physiological sigh I taught you at the beginning, that you can do anytime, anywhere, super quick and easy. Anytime you think about it, you're waiting for your tea to boil, and just do them as many times as you think of it throughout the day. Aim for like at least 5 times. And then also have 1 or 2 longer practices that you can do at least once a day. Do some kind of longer practice. And that means like ideally around 10 minutes. It could be as short as 5. It could be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever works for you. I have several practices on my Insight Timer page that are in that range, like 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll be sure to put a link to that below, as well as the body scan. And it's just nice to have that balance where you've got some quick tools, you've got some, more longer, more in-depth tools, and then that you practice them even when you're not feeling like stressed or activated, but you just practice them so they get ingrained in your body. And so you start to build this baseline of regulation. So when something activating does happen, it's much easier for you to find that equilibrium again and be less reactive. If you have any questions about that, about how to incorporate this for yourself, please just drop me a comment. I also have more like super quick, easy ones in my free Decode Your Nervous System mini masterclass. So I will link that down below as well. And then the last practice I wanted to share with you that is not necessarily a somatic practice, is more of a mind or mental based practice, is gratitude. Gratitude practice. I'm sure you've heard this before many times. It's very effective. The science backs me up on this. Gratitude is really good for your brain. It's really good for your nervous system. If you have trouble connecting to the kind of typical write a gratitude list suggestions, then I would suggest that you just think of one thing that you're very grateful for. Maybe it's even a memory. Maybe it's not even something in the present moment, but something that you got to experience. And really notice, how does that feeling of gratitude appear in my body? Then we kind of bring it back into that somatic, body-based, body-centered approach. So that is the practice, and it's really incredible what can happen when you actually do these tools, practice these tools on a regular basis over time. So in the next video in this series, I'm going to share some somatic success stories. Obviously, I am one of them. I'm now fully recovered and backpacking around mountains. And then also a few other clients and folks that I've worked with who have also seen some really amazing results. So if you need a boost of hope and optimism, then please check out that video as well. All right, take care.